It's spinning up. It's spinning up.
Okay, I'm seeing it come through. It's trying.
Okay.
All right.
So on our end, I need to go ahead and press start it.
We are live. We have 7 attendees, 10, and the numbers are going up.
Okay. Let's make sure that this thing is.
It's spinning up.
Yep.
Okay, I'm seeing it come through.
Live.
It's trying.
Okay. Live stream is up. We have our president, our folks are up on our side. Looks like they can see it. Looks like attendees are up. We got about 28 attendees. President Caldwell, since I see that you're on, Secretary Alicia Lacey Castillo, I see you're on. Good afternoon, good evening. If you don't mind, we're going to, and Attorney Hodges, I see you're on. Is it okay or proper? I need for my technical staff to kind of give us the protocols at the beginning to make sure this works. It looks like we've got about 61 attendees inside Zoom right now. We can do up to about 500. And then they also are running Facebook Live. So they have worked on these protocols. We did this Sunday. So is it okay if I let them talk at the beginning, even though it's not on the agenda? And let me pull that up. President, Attorney.
I was going to say, Dr. Bostic and board members, good evening. Yes, I believe as part of the call to order, as the president has done since the COVID crisis, we have reviewed procedures for the meeting, and it would be appropriate for those access procedures to be discussed at that time after our president calls us into order and identifies our board members. That would be my recommendation, Dr. Bostic and Mr. President.
Thank you, Attorney. And then we'll ask you, since it is 6:31, when we get ready for the call to order, we'll ask you to go through and give the governor's protocols as normal. Is that okay? All right.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to post the agenda on the board, and then I'm going to turn it over to President Caldwell to call us to order. And all right. I guess I need to make sure. You said our faces need to be video or open too. Okay, here we go. President Caldwell, Secretary Alicia. Hey, Trustee Hammerani. Oh, I like your background, sir. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. President Caldwell, it's in your hand. Ball's on you.
You're on mute, Mr. President.
All righty, there we go. I'm off mute now. I would like to call to order our town hall meeting, which has been properly posted as required by law to make sure that we fulfill our Open Meetings Act. I would like to take a roll call of all board members. So when you hear your name, please reply or respond by the usual I or here. Vice President Xavier Herrera. Secretary Alicia Lacey Castillo.
Present.
Trustee Ash Hamarani.
Present.
Trustee Jackie Jean Baptiste. Did I hear a present from you, Jackie? Trustee Greg Holsapple. Trustee Manuel Hinojosa.
Present.
All right, and I am Board President Chris Caldwell, so we do have a quorum as we.
President, I'm sorry, I couldn't get unmuted fast enough.
Okay, we do have a quorum as required by law. At this time, I would like to turn it over to our attorney so he can read our special instructions concerning COVID-19 and how we are to operate the Zoom meeting. Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. President, board members and staff and members of the Stafford community. Now is the time frame to review the procedures that with respect to this video conference meeting that's being held tonight, both through the Zoom app as well as Facebook Live. On March 16th, our Governor Greg Abbott, granted a request from the Attorney General Kim Paxton to temporarily suspend a limited number of the open meeting laws that apply to the district to the extent necessary to allow our board to participate in telephonic or video conference meetings in response to the COVID-19 crisis. And in accordance with those suspended rules, we do certify on behalf of Stafford Municipal School District that notice of this meeting, as our board president referenced, has been posted properly, has been online for 72 hours. Although board members are not gathered physically in a central location, as the board president also shared, we do have a quorum in attendance, and that's done through our video conferencing software applications that we've mentioned tonight. That is both Zoom as well as Facebook Live this evening. The board president will address public comment, which pursuant to the suspended rules has been altered from the traditional fashion. I'll let him review that off of his agenda, but it's by email. But all the other general procedures do apply with respect to this duly called board meeting, although there could be some technical difficulties, and we appreciate everyone's patience. If that's the case, there will be an audio recorded at this, and just want to verify that we're recording administration for purposes of the record. And then I think, Mr. President and board members, also, now that we're in a recording, we reviewed all the procedures. The board president has called to order, identified our respective members that are present tonight. And I do believe, Mr. President, that there are some other procedures of just information with respect to our software applications for this evening's town hall meeting that the administration would like to share, if that's your pleasure, Mr. President and Mr. Superintendent. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that, Attorney Hodgins. And we do have some special protocols that will be presented by the administration at Stafford. So I'll allow Dr. Bostic to move to that section.
Director George Rodriguez and Coordinator for Instructional Technology, Stephanie Jernigan, and our Production Manager, Mario Parks. Would you unmute yourself and tell us what the protocols, George, maybe start off with us on what we're going to do as far as your both protocols that are out there.
Thank you, everyone who's joining us through Facebook Live and also through Zoom. For the attendees that are on at the bottom bar of Zoom, you will find a question and answer section. If you would like to raise your hand for any reason and your question be answered, please type your question, and a panelist or the host, Dr. Bostic, will read your question live or respond to you in a chat format. We will also be taking questions from Facebook Live, which will be moderated by Mr. Mario Parks and Ms. Stephanie Jernigan. So if there are any attendees only on the Facebook Live side, please feel free to answer questions. One thing I would like to note, the Facebook feed is about 15 to 20 seconds delay. So as we move on to the Facebook questions, if we could allow 30 seconds or so for the video to catch up to make sure that the questions are coming in properly, that would be great.
Thank you, Director.
All righty. Thank you, Dr. Bostic. As required by law, we have a public comment section. And we do ask that if you have a public comment that you email it to the school secretary. I think the email address is saustin at SMSD, is the website. So we ask that you would please email her with any, if you'd like to make public comment. There it is, saustin at smsd.org. Attorney Hodgins, can I ask you a question?
Yes, Mr. President.
Since this is a very special meeting and we will be touching some topics concerning our senior students and some activities.
Yes.
If we could kind of relax maybe the public comment rule, because I know parents will be making comments throughout.
Yeah, I'd be happy to respond, Mr. President. Yes, for tonight's meeting, and in the fashion that it has been structured and the procedures for this evening, member general public comment about general actions or general considerations is formulated and set up for an email. But for purposes of tonight, on the issues that we're going to be addressed in the town hall meeting, as has been shared, there are going to be some extra procedures to allow and encourage questions and participation by the patrons and the citizens and parents, and as well as staff and board members with respect to the issues that are going to be addressed this evening. So yes, the general public comment still be an email, but for purposes of the items discussed on the agenda this evening, there are the unique procedures tonight, particularly allowed for the members, the patrons of the Stafford Municipal School District community. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney. That being said, we will move into our next agenda item, where we actually go into the reports, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Bostic.
President Caldwell, members of the board, we would note for you tonight that you do have panelists behind you. They are all muted, but you do have your entire expanded staff behind you. So if there are any questions that come from the public, you have the ability to ask those directly to those panelists. So, I mean, from the reading specialists, every elementary principal, intermediate, everybody, they are on there for resources, because we want our community and you to know that we've got your back. We're out here for kids. So let's start off with the reports. And the first one that we have up is Dr. DuBose. Dr. Bose.
Dr. Bostic, Board President Caldwell, and all board trustees assembled, and of course to the Stafford community, good evening. I am going to just share a few updates, and then from there, Mr. Root will share some of the things that are going on with the class of 2020. And so, of course, we know that we've had many challenges in terms of trying to find ways to accommodate the prom and graduation with the confines that we find ourselves with. And so what I want to do at this time, hopefully Mr. Root is nearby, because I want to give him the opportunity to talk about a lot of great things that are happening at the high school, and to give you an update as it relates to prom, graduation, senior activities. And I want to thank and commend them for all of their hard work today. They were out there with some of the students that were coming through, picking up their graduation gowns. So again, I want to give Mr. Root that honor to be able to share some of the things that are going on, again, as it relates to the prom, graduation, and senior activities. So at this time, Mr. Root, it's on you.
All right. Well, so we have a lot going on at the high school. I'm sure that lots of people have questions and concerns about what's going on. And, you know, we've taken this job very seriously to make sure that our seniors are taken care of, and that they're getting everything they need, and being recognized as well as they can, as well as they deserve. So we are doing a lot of things for them. Like Dr. DuBose said, we were out this morning distributing caps and gowns to those that pre-purchased them. And we gave them an opportunity to purchase them if they hadn't done that yet. I think we distributed 170-ish caps and gowns today. That's out of a 253 student senior class. So it's very good for a 3-hour window on one day. We're going to continue that next week, making calls to those kids that didn't pick them up, particularly those that pre-purchased and didn't pick them up. We also were able to distribute yard signs for our seniors to take home and put in their yards or stick in the windows at their house. Just one way to recognize them, so that the people in the community that see that sign in the yard or the sign in the window can know that a senior lives there, and that they can pass their support on to them and let them know that they're cheering for them and that they care about them and all of those things. Also, if you've been driving around the city over the last 24 hours or so, on the 4 electronic billboards in the city, we have purchased some ad space to recognize our seniors. Now, unfortunately, not all of our seniors turned in yearbook photos. So we worked with the photos that we had. And on those 4 screens, there are some scrolling messages, pictures of our kids, and just to let them know and let the community are and see Stafford, the face of Stafford. That they are the Stafford champions right now, because they deserve all of our well wishes and congratulations for the work they put in over the last 13 years to get to this point. We just over about 2.5 weeks ago, we did a survey. I'm going to transition into that survey real quickly. Dr. Bostic, can I share my screen? Can I have access for that?
I think it'll let you do that.
I clicked it and it said that I cannot.
Okay, so here we go. There you go.
All right, there it is. I got it.
You got it?
Yes, sir.
Looks like you've got several people in Dallas watching you because they keep texting me. They're watching your.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I love Dallas when they're not playing Houston teams in sports.
Wow.
So about 2.5 weeks ago, we put out a survey out to our students and to our senior parents that could be reached through our email list or through the email list that's been compiled by Chef Goodhue, our senior sponsor. As you can see, we had 269 respondents to that survey. 180 of those were senior students. 81 of them were parents, and then we had 7 others. I don't know what the relation is to the seniors, but they cared enough to voice their opinion, so we appreciate that. The second question really doesn't apply at this point. We know that we're not having prom, we're not having graduation in May. We know that at this point. So then the third question was, if prom could not be held in May, would you still be interested in attending prom if it was in June? And we had about 2/3 of our respondents responded that yes, they would attend prom if it was held in June. We asked about July, and you can see that our numbers were a little bit more. That's getting a little far away for some of our seniors, and the majority of students said that they would not attend, that they would not be interested in attending prom in June. So then we asked another question about prom in some internal discussions that we had about what if we made prom free? What if we made this as a reward, another thing that we're doing for the seniors to show them that we care about them and we know they've taken a hit and missed a whole lot of things this year. What if we made prom free and not make them pay the $75 prom fee? 95 answered yes to all the other questions. So 95 kids are going to prom no matter when it is. And then 117 responded yes, that they would like to attend prom. So I broke that down a little bit more. I looked at just the student answers. Yes, the parent answers are important, but I think a prom question is a student question. The students want to attend prom. And so of the 269 respondents to this survey, 180 of them were students, like I said earlier. 149 of those 180 students said that yes, they would attend prom in July, in June or July if it was free. That's the 95 that answered yes to all the questions. Well, it's not all 95 of them because some of those were parents that answered that. But 149 either said, I will attend it no matter when it is, or yes, I will attend it, it's free. So 149 out of 180, that's 82% of our student respondents said that they would attend prom in June or July if it was free. And that's 180 students. We have 253 in our senior class. So if you extrapolate those numbers out, that's 207 respondents that said that they potentially would attend prom if it was free in June or July. So we're still talking about prom venues. Obviously, prom is different than graduation. Graduation is a large venue, where we can fit a lot of people. It's easy to socially distance. Prom is a little bit more difficult. Prom isn't a social distancing activity. They're on the dance floor. They're having a good time. They're celebrating with their friends. So it's harder to socially distance at prom. So it does take some extra considerations. So at this point, we're still examining what we're doing about prom. We do not have a prom date at this point. We are still examining venues. We're still examining safety. Safety is our number one priority when it comes to our students. And so prom is a question mark at this point. We want to have prom. We want to give this to the students, but the not mandate that we have it with some of these answers makes us really want to make sure we're making the right decision with prom and safety. Our last two questions, the next to last question dealt particularly with graduation, and that was what do you want to do for graduation? And the choices were either have a virtual graduation only, and that's on the date of graduation. So how many of them wanted just a virtual graduation, something done online on the graduation date, the original date, which is May 22nd. The second response was a virtual graduation and a ceremony later in the summer. The vast majority of our respondents said that they didn't want a virtual graduation. They just want a graduation later on when it's safe. And then we had a last option where we wanted to know who just wanted their diploma and to move on. And we had 15 respondents say that they wanted that option. So graduation has been a big deal. We've been searching far and wide to figure out what we're going to do. We were hoping that we were going to be able to stay with TSU just because it's a large venue where we could easily socially distance. And it's air conditioned if we're doing it later in the summer, to be honest. We were told on Tuesday of this week that TSU canceled all events through the end of July. So they wouldn't be able to host our event. So that kind of put us in an alternate mode. And we'd already been looking at alternate spaces just in case, because we knew that was an option. And so I think that we have found a venue. And we think we have a date. Now, none of this has been finalized yet. And I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for jumping the gun, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because we think it's going to be finalized. We think we have a date of July 16th. It's a Thursday, July 16th at Constellation Field in Sugar Land. Constellation Field has a capacity of 7,500 people that it can hold for an event. And if we, limited the numbers of guests that students could bring, that graduates can bring, we don't have a number for that yet. Kept it to around, 1,000 to 1,500 total getting finalized. That we should be able to effectively social distance in a venue that size. Constellation Field has held Stafford graduations before, so they know our setup. They know what to expect. We've worked with them. Their organization is a class act when it comes to getting things done and making sure that everything's right for our guests and for our kids, and making sure that we get what we need. Some other questions that we got. We've been working on a frequently asked questions document since our missed meeting last week. We are just about ready to post that. It probably will be posted. If not tonight, then it should be posted tomorrow out for parents. So that has a lot of information on it, including the information about graduation, the information or lack of information for prom, because we don't have a date for that yet. It also talks about senior activities. Unfortunately, school's been canceled through May 22nd. We've had to cancel all of the senior activities that were scheduled for senior week. We will be giving refunds for all of those events that seniors have paid for. Those will be, the refunds will be given. We don't have a timeline or a method to do that yet. Right now, we have about $11,000 tied up in the prom venue, and we haven't sold any tickets to get that money back. So we don't know. We don't have that money on hand yet, but we will have that money soon whenever we figure out what we're doing with prom. And as soon as we know that we have the money, we will start processing those refunds. And it should be very soon, within the next couple of weeks, we'll be releasing the opportunity, the refund information. You guys will get your money back for the events that you paid for, that you won't get to participate in. There are some things in that senior package that are things that you paid for, that you purchased: a senior shirt, a yearbook, senior souvenirs. Students will still be receiving those. So there will not be refunds for those items that students are still going to receive. And the same goes true with if you ordered cords and stoles through organizations. If for some reason we end up not having a graduation ceremony and you don't want those cords and stoles and things, we'll be sure to we'll get the refunds out for those as well. It also talks about, I'm going to stop sharing this. So it also talks about, I'm going to open up the letter just to make sure that I cover everything that's on there. Maybe if I can get it to open. All right. So it talks about caps and gowns. If you still need to order caps and gowns, please do that through balfour.com at this point. If you pre-purchased a cap and gown and did not pick it up today, those are available in the Stafford High School front office. You can call the office to schedule a time to pick them up. If you ordered graduation invitations and they have the wrong date and venue on them now, Balfour is going to provide you with an insert to put inside of the invitation that does have the correct time and date. You can call Balfour directly at their office to get that worked out. Again, their phone number will be in the FAQ document that we release and put on the website as soon as possible. But if you want the number for Balfour, it is 713-784-4990. We talked about senior activities. Recognition, the yard signs, we still have the yard signs. So if you have a senior student and you did not get a yard sign today, those are also available in the front office of high school. All you got to do is call the front office, arrange a time to come pick up, and we will get you your yard sign. We also still have more plans to come. We're not done with yard signs and billboards. We're trying to do more to recognize our kids. They deserve it. And the last thing on that FAQ document is about credit. We need to make sure that students are completing their classes. This is a very important crunch time where students need to complete their classes and pass those classes so that they can make sure that they do get to walk across that stage at graduation. So that's basically our FAQ document, our survey results. We got some questions. I'll try to figure out how to answer some of these questions. So it's asking about any indoor possibilities for graduation. Really, at this point, we're locked in on Constellation Field. If something happens that does not fall through, we're going to consider any options. It will be at 8 p.m. It is going to be a late start, so it should be cooler. It is the middle of July, but we're trying to give these opportunities. Will there still be able to have a senior sunset if it is safe to do so? Just because we canceled the senior events at school doesn't mean that we're not going to have any more senior events. We will schedule senior events, and even any of those senior events that were canceled are possible to come back if it is safe to do so. I do see a situation where we will be able to have a senior sunset. We could do that on a football field and we could still socially distance. That may be tied to a graduation practice that we do, or even possible before the end of the school year, but it's just going to depend on a safety issue and if we can safely do that. Since seating will be limited for graduation, will the ceremony be live streamed? I don't know the answer to that, but that's a great idea. I have some ideas about that I'm going to talk to, but I'm sure that we can find a way to live stream that. I don't want to talk out of turn, but I'm sure we can find a way to live stream that graduation. We have great technology people in this district. How would the graduation practices for seniors go? We'll have a practice out on the football field. That's the plan right now, to kind of simulate what's going, to give us the ample space to socially distance and still practice. Oops, I minimized my screen. Hold on. How long does it take for diplomas to be handed out? We are going to try to be in and out of graduation at an hour and a half max. We're going to trim it down. But we are also going to add a few things to graduation just to make sure that it is do so and to make sure that students are properly rewarded, especially if we're not able to have a live senior awards program. We would tie the senior awards into graduation and, you know, announce scholarships and things like that as kids are walking across the stage. Will we be able to take a class picture? Yes, that is something that we are still working on. Hopefully, if we can have a graduation practice and a graduation, we can still have a class picture. I know that these picture companies do pictures for large schools. You know, North Shore has, you know, 5,000 kids or whatever than that. Could we get the same setup that North Shore has and socially distance our kids so they're not standing right next to each other, but spread them out a little bit? I think that would even be a story to tell, you know, later on when somebody's walking through the halls and they see our pictures on the walls. They can remember why, you know, this class was special and why they're spaced out a little bit. We are working on plan B in case it rains. I know that a few years ago, we did have graduation at Constellation Field and it did rain. So we are going to come up with plan Bs. We don't have those at the moment, but July 16th is, you know, two months away. So we're okay with that. Do the billboards rotate kids? Yes. Every time it rotates, every time our screen comes up, it's a new set of kids. And right now we have you know, those billboards going out. And then when will they get senior shirts? As soon as possible. We don't have them at this point. You know, things were backed up because places were closed. So as soon as we get them, we'll probably do a drive-through distribution. We wouldn't wait to a practice to get those senior shirts. We have another question. What if we do not want to participate in activities? How can we be refunded? You're going to get refunds if you don't want to participate in anything that you paid for through the school. Now, you know, caps and gowns and things like that you were purchased through Balfour, we don't know. We don't control Balfour. They make those decisions on that stuff. So how long will the billboards be up with pictures? 4 weeks. So they started yesterday. They will be up for 4 weeks from yesterday. Yearbooks, when will they get yearbooks? We'll get yearbooks as soon as we get them. That plant, that facility was closed down that manufactures the yearbooks. So as soon as we get them, we will distribute them to students. I think I answered all my questions. Are there any questions that I missed that somebody wants to bring to my attention?
Trustees, I know a couple of you text me, so.
Dr. Bostic. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to go ahead and basically thank you and Principal Root for what y'all are doing. As the mere fact that we're even humoring this and able to go ahead and do this, as you well know, you worked with me to go ahead and have a Fort Bend County-wide town hall meeting such as this.
Yes, sir.
And it's unfortunate that we have a number of superintendents from our region that are not having prom and not having graduation. So just the mere fact that we're, you know, our staff and you are working on this and doing their due diligence, that's great work. I know the parents would definitely go ahead and appreciate everything that's going on. So thank you all very much for doing this.
Thank you, Vice President. Trustee Holsapple, do you have something to add? think he might be muted still.
Can I jump in while he's getting unmuted?
Absolutely.
I just had another question about where are the billboards, and that's a good question. I've gotten that a few times. There are 4 of them in Stafford. I don't know exactly where they are. I can't give you exactly, but one is at 90 and Murphy. One is on 1092, close to where like Tornado Taco is, I think, or Tornado Burger is, I think. And then there are 2 on 59, one near the fountains, and I'm not sure where the other one is. So that's a good question. Also, I just saw a question on Facebook pop up, so I'm going to answer it about our boys basketball team. Yes, we are working on something for them to be recognized. I think UIL is about to make some decisions regarding that I think we're gonna enjoy greatly. I don't want to jump on that announcement before UIL makes it, but I think that they've done what's fair for the kids who worked really hard. That team is awesome. I was part of the '98 team that made it to state in Stafford, and those are some of my favorite memories as a student, as a person that I still have. I still cherish those memories to this date. So yes, we are going to do something to recognize that team for what they did this year, and the best way we're going to do is we're going to go out and we're going to win it all next year. So that's how we're going to make
all
it
right.
for
You're
that.
going to win it. You have the best basketball team ever. Trustee Holsapple, I see you're unmuted now. Sir?
Yes, sir. I forgot to push the magic button, but I think I'm okay now. Years ago, we had the rain out at Constellation Field, and at that time, they were going to offer us a credit for future graduation. Do we still have that credit?
I am not sure exactly. But I will ask Sonia to see if she can find that email, and then she'll work with our new CFO to see if we can get that up. That's a great question, because we did have quite a bit of money invested in that and weren't able to get it. We had a credit. I don't know if Miss Austin has found that or not, or if she's on. Maybe she can unmute herself. And if not, we'll get back with us.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
Usually during the graduation, when the board hands out the diploma folders or the diplomas, however you want to view them, there's an awful lot of handshakes and hugs. How are we going to maintain social distancing this year? I know a lot of us have known these kids all the way through school and want to celebrate with them.
Principal Root.
That's just something that we're going to have to figure out as a group. I would imagine that it's going to be a lot of nods and smiles, air high fives, air hugs. But even if things are semi back to normal and people are going places, we're still going to be very cautious because we have 250 seniors. We have 100 staff members that'll be involved in this. We have 1,000, 1,500 people in the crowd. And so we are going to be very cautious. We're going to follow directions from all the local health officials. It could be, taking temperatures before you get on a bus to go to graduation, things like that. But yeah, likely the handshakes and things like that we normally do aren't going to happen at this graduation. But we'll see what happens, come July and when we start really looking at what the program looks like for that graduation ceremony. I've seen another question that I want to jump in real quick, and I'm sorry, board members, if I'm jumping on. I just want to make sure our parents get their questions answered that I see. Will there be any recognition to all senior athletes who did not complete their season? I think that it came up on my calendar yesterday that yesterday was supposed to be the athletic banquet. I think that's what popped up on my calendar. We're going to recognize those senior athletes probably at graduation, and not just senior athletes, but seniors with their activities and things like that. And we'll get with Coach Savannah and I don't know if Coach Savannah is on here to talk, but
He is.
He can maybe jump in and talk about that. But Coach Savannah, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. We had talked about maybe later in July, trying to get together and do some type of recognition for all the senior athletes, especially the spring athletes. We kind of had our banquet in December for the fall athletes, but we haven't been able to do anything for the spring athletes. So we talked about later in mid-July, so trying to get together and do something for them. We haven't been able to put a place together, but maybe some type of what we theory is some type of gathering where we can, in a large enough place where we can also use social distancing. So we're looking at that right now. And also on your comment with the recognition of the basketball team, we're waiting for a UIL meeting on tomorrow to determine if the plan that they passed on to us will be what we're going to go with. I think it was something that the UIL came up with that is really good for our young men, but we can't say for certain until they make their vote on tomorrow.
Thank you, Coach. And
I
then
got a couple more questions.
that's where I was going. You got a couple more questions.
Yeah, I'm sorry. One just popped up again. Graduation date. Again, it's not finalized, but we want to go ahead and put it out there, get it on people's calendar. July 16th, Thursday, July 16th at Constellation Field in Sugar Land. One, will diplomas only be handed out at graduation, or will they be picked up by kids? Actually, at graduation, we don't hand out diplomas. We just hand out the diploma covers. Students come later to receive their diplomas. So yes, diplomas will be distributed through the school after graduation. Students will get that information at graduation practice about how they do that. Since you mentioned the bus to graduation, will students still be required to be bused? The answer is yes. Students will be required to meet at the high school and be bused to Constellation Field. We will do a graduation run through before we leave, just to make sure that everybody has it, in lockstep, trying to know what they're supposed to do. Not have to make snap decisions on the field. I saw another one about a keynote speaker. At this time, we do not have a speaker at graduation. We are trying to minimize the amount of time that we're going to be outside in July. But we do get an extra speaker this year. We have co-salutatorians. So we have 2 salutatorians that will be giving speeches at graduation. So there is that extra speech. If you missed a yard sign, if you didn't get it today, call the school. The school is open, or somebody's in the office to answer phones Monday through Friday, 8 to 12. Just call them and they will set up a time for you to come in and pick one up, and it'll be hands-free. You won't have to come in the office. It'll be waiting for you outside when you get there. One about recognition about AJ, ROTC, and Color Guard needing recognition. We are going to recognize those kids. Another question came up about diplomas. It's generally it's a few days after. And again, another question about refunds. As soon as we have information about refunds, we will get that. We had another question earlier that I didn't get to about what happens if seniors didn't pay for their packages. Well, most of the packages is being refunded. So if you didn't pay, you're not losing out. You may lose your senior shirt or your yearbook if you didn't pay for those, because those have been ordered at this point. If you didn't purchase a cap and gown, a graduation, a cap and gown or stole or tassel, or something happens and you lose it, there will be extras available on graduation day. So you can show up for graduation practice or the actual day of graduation, and we will have those available for purchase. Another one was the yearbook and senior fees are separate. The yearbook was part of the senior package, so some seniors bought a yearbook as part of their package. So if you didn't purchase a yearbook, then you won't get one. Or if you, and yearbooks are still available for purchase too. Balfour.com. You can get a yearbook at Balfour.com if you still need a yearbook. and we're moving. We're trying to get all of our kids the credits that they need to graduate. This isn't, we're not just working on seniors. But I have a special place in my heart for these seniors and what they're going through. And I want to make sure that they have everything that they need to feel honored, to feel like, their time was valued over the last 13 years as they move into the next phase of their life. I love these kids. I love every single one of these kids. And I just want them to make sure that they know that we love them and that we're going to miss them. And we want them to go do great things.
Okay, so I think we're in a good place in terms of going on and sharing some of the other updates. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. And again, thank you, Mr. Root, for providing that information. We know that a lot of our families were really anxious to hear all the information that you provided. So thank you again. If anyone just joined the call, graduation date is set for Thursday, July 16th at Constellation Field at 8 p.m. At this point, we are negotiating the contract. But we did want to at least share that date with you at this point. And prom is still that it's still questionable, but we will certainly provide you with that information as soon as we have it. So that I want to talk about just a couple of more things so that my colleagues can share other things that are going on in the district. First of all, everyone, we always seem to think that everyone knows about how the district is going to change in terms of our schools. So those of you that may not know, we have our early childhood center that's opening in the fall. In the fall, we will no longer have an intermediate school. So the 5th grade students are going to the elementary school and the 6th grade students are going to the middle school. So as much as we can, we want to continue to convey that message for those that may not have an awareness of that. And our principals are working to get information to our parents to help those students with that transition. So also for families that are interested in attending the Early Childhood Center, we will have one class for students as young as 6 months, as up to 2 years old. There'll be one class. There'll be one pre-K 3 class, and then all of our pre-K and kindergarten classes will be at the Early Childhood Center. So please know that registration has already started and registration will end on July 31st. So we urge you to please go ahead and start that process and get your seat so that your children can be at the Early Childhood Center. Also, Mr. Root alluded to some of the work. The teachers are working so hard in the background. We're so proud of them because they've had to make this great transition into virtual learning, and our students have certainly been working as well. Again, one of my colleagues will talk about that, but we do have students that have worked on, they have paper work packets. All work packets will be due by May the 11th. The teachers need this packet so that they can grade them because students will still receive report cards. So after May 11th, teaching will still occur until the last day of school. Teachers will continue to work with students on reteaching, interventions, and enrichment activities. So again, just a reminder to parents, if you have paper packets, please get those in by May the 11th. Also, our food service for students is still available. It's available until June 30th. Again, it's available till June 30th. Those pickup days are on Monday and Tuesday. So if you pick up meals on Monday, you'll receive meals for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then if you come on Thursday, you'll receive food items for Thursday and Friday. And so that is still occurring at the primary campus. Please check the website, our website, for the specific times. And also with the early childhood registration is available on the website as well. Also, we're still actually distributing laptops. However, before you know it, we're going to be collecting those laptops again, collecting those laptops and devices. So that process will begin on May the 17th. You will be notified as to when that will occur. And again, that will be curbside as well in terms of dropping off devices. We'll need to check those items in. We'll need to get them cleaned up. We'll need to see if updates need to be done. So that's one of the reasons. Plus, we want to make sure we receive the devices before some of our students leave or transfer. So we want to make sure that's very expensive inventory, and we want to make sure that we keep up with it. In addition to that, if you are an existing student on a transfer, if you are here now, please, pretty please, get those in now. We're already at the point where we're going to start sending out those approval letters on May the 22nd. So transfers are due now, immediately, like last week. So we need those so that you can get your letters, and so that we can sufficiently count and prepare for all of the students for the upcoming school year. And as for athletics, band, and academic activities and competitions, those will resume upon guidance from the governor and UIL. So those are some of the things that are going on in our district, and we will continue to work and provide the best service possible to all of our families.
Looks like you've got a few questions over there. Mr. Parks, can you kind of unmute or one of you, can you unmute and give her those questions?
Absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I believe we stopped at, let's just pick up right here with the military boot camp. They say, are you making more senior shirts? I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. What about the students that are leaving for the military boot camp? Is one question that we have.
Mr.
We appreciate those kids for their service. We will recognize them. I know that if we have a July 16th graduation, it would be very difficult for them to go. I would imagine that if students are in the military, they won't be able to attend that event. We will find a way to mail those out. We have a couple questions, Mario, that I can see that I'll just jump into to ask, if that's all right. One, will face masks for kids be required at graduation? We don't know. It's a discussion that we've had. We'll have more information, a lot of information later on about the logistics of graduation. And then another one asked, I don't understand how you could talk about social distance, but want to put seniors on a bus. We've also considered that very much as well. We have lots of buses and lots of bus drivers. We can easily space them out to where they're sitting, one per seat, skipping a few seats. We have had those conversations, and we'll continue to have those conversations. If it's determined that's not the best way to do it when we get there, we'll do that. The reason that we want to make sure that seniors are on the bus and they're with us, one, so that we can have a walkthrough prior, and two, we want to make sure that a student doesn't show up 20 minutes late to graduation and come running onto the field because they are late. We want students to arrive together, and they do not have to ride the buses home. They'll ride the buses, or they will go home with their parents.
I would just like to add, this is Dr. DeBose. I would just like to add that we're also going to receive additional guidance next week from the Texas Education Center, because of course, graduation is not unique just for Stafford. So they are, the state is collecting information around the state so they can give guidance for that. So I did want to share that information as well. Are there any additional questions?
Yes, we have a few more questions. Okay. Is there summer school options for kids that fail a subject and they'll start being postponed or waived this year?
Mr. Parks, we'll ask when we get down to Chief Raspberry. She can answer that question. All right, keep going. What else?
Okay. Out of the district applications for returning students, accepting letters coming soon.
Dr. Bose?
Yes, we just shared that those letters are coming on May 22nd, the May 22nd. So again, if you have not turned that in, we've been begging and pleading to get those in. You don't have to bring them in. You can actually email those according to, based on which how it goes to. So again, acceptance letters are going out on May the 22nd.
May 22nd, okay. Are you making more senior shirts if we did not purchase any? Anybody?
Ask Mr. Root to answer that question.
Yeah, Mr. Root.
I'm sorry, I was looking down at my phone at a
Question.
related message. Yeah. So what was that again?
The question is, are you guys purchasing more or making more senior shirts?
Yeah, I answered that question in the Facebook chat. We don't know. We to this point we haven't had a demand for extra shirts.
Okay.
So if parents or students want to reach out to us at the school and let us know they're interested in shirts, we can look at making an order. I don't know, but I don't want to say absolutely no at this point. We can always look into it.
Okay. Would there be another available date and time for pick up locker things for the middle school?
And Miss Gale can probably answer that and jump on, but I'll say that for the high school, and it's probably going to be the same thing for Miss Gale, that we still have items to be picked up too. If you have items, just go ahead and call the school and set up a time to come up and pick those up, at least for the high school. Miss Gale can probably answer it, but I imagine it's probably going to be very similar to that.
Thank you, Mr. Root. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
For the middle school, we have all the items bagged and tagged for students. Any parent that wants to pick up those items can come to the middle school front office Monday through Wednesday from 8 to 11 or 1 to 3, and we will issue those items directly to the parent or student.
Okay, and lastly, there was a question about JROTC color guards. Are they required to be presenting anywhere for the graduation?
We're talking with Major Glutz about that. I saw that question too, and it was from the commander of our student commander of our AJROTC program. And so she would be concerned about this because she's on top of her stuff. And she's a great leader. So Major Glutz is going to reach out to her and we will figure out what we're going to do about that. But we want the color guard there if it's possible to do so. We know that I think almost all of our color guard are seniors, so they'll be graduating. They won't be able to be on the color guard. And we have some new kids that would need to be trained. And so how would we train those kids if they're not coming up to school? So those are questions we'll ask, but we'll get with Major Glutz, who runs that program, and First Sergeant Peavy, and they will make sure that their kids look great like they always do.
That's all we have so far.
Dr. Bostic, I need to make a comment real quick, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
All right. To all of the parents that are listening, we're going to make sure that we try to accommodate all students as much as possible within reason. In an effort to be transparent, it's very difficult to give you a solid date or something in concrete because everything is still very fluid. So maybe tomorrow something might change. Maybe next week, we might get word from the governor or a TEA, something might change. So it's kind of difficult for us to be very concrete, but we do want to be transparent to let you know that we are planning, that we do want to accommodate these students. It's been a very difficult year for our seniors. I don't think we've ever had a year like this, ever, where a full senior class have had to miss almost 3 months of school. So I know that you're concerned about the experience of your students, but as a board, staff, administrator, superintendent, we were going to do everything possible to accommodate those students and make sure that they do have a very successful experience for their senior year. So please excuse us because we don't have everything that's in concrete. But again, everything is very fluid. It's changing every day. And we're trying to make sure that we are planning for that and to give the students the best experience possible.
Thank you, President Caldwell. We'll move forward, with your permission, we'll move forward with the rest of the agenda as presented.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Bose, are there any other parts on this one? And we'll move to our next slide.
No, sir.
Dr. Almas, Chief Academic Officer.
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Bostic, President Caldwell, and trustees. At Stafford MSD, in addition to our mainstream online and packet instruction, we offer a variety of virtual extended learning opportunities throughout the school year and in the summertime. Some of the programs and resources that I will mention in this presentation are already in place. Some of them will start in May and some others will happen in the summer. Dr. Bostic, would you please move to the next slide, please?
Yes, sir.
With these programs, our goal is to provide learning and development experiences that enhance and complement our school curriculum. In addition to these programs, offer engaging opportunities for students so that they can advance core skills, discover new interests, and make real-world connections outside a traditional classroom. Our extended learning programs mainly focus on academics, enrichment, hands-on learning, social emotional learning, career development, and health and wellness. Can you please move to the next slide? Now, in this slide, I would like to talk a little bit about the program components. The first category is the supplemental curriculum resources. Texas Education Agency's home learning is a good example for this category. TEA posted very quality free resources for online and packet instruction, especially the summer school bridge version is a good one for summer enrichment. We are currently working on a plan to present this resource to our parents and students in a way that it provides all of our students with support to prepare them for the next school year. These resources are full of TICS-aligned daily activities designed to engage students in a meaningful way in home setting. Parents can select online or printed materials. These parent-friendly resources were prepared to guide students outside of classroom without the support of a full-time teacher during summer. In addition, the summer enrichment version will help students access high-quality text sets and novels at discounted state rates. Like TEA home learning, we have many other curriculum resources already posted on our webpage. We will continue to add more resources in the coming days as well. The next category is the supplemental summer camps. In addition to our regular summer camps, this year we will add many virtual camp opportunities. I listed several camp programs here. To give you an idea about these camps, I would like to briefly talk about the first two. The first one is the Innovative Technology Challenges for STEM. This camp is for grades 3 to 6, and it will cover coding, 3D printing, digital storytelling, video production, and digital STEM art. The second one is the Girls Coding Camp offered by HP and UH together. It is for middle school female students. Both programs will be free for low-income students. So we will add similar programs to our list in the coming days. On our virtual learning site, in addition to our main virtual and packet resources, we made additional resources available for our parents and students. This includes TICS-aligned engaging digital resources for each content area. In addition, there are many free virtual field trips and virtual museums information is available for our parents and students, like the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History. This site, for example, provides a variety of educational supports, including online resources, such as videos and virtual tours. Like Smithsonian, there are many other virtual field trips and museum opportunities available to our students, which provide live and interactive learning experiences. We will continue to enrich these resources in each category listed here for May and then summer, and also add new categories. This is just an overview. In the next part, Ms. Resberry will present more specific information about summer learning programs like summer school, credit recovery, summer reading, and the robotics camp. As the curriculum and instruction team, we are closely working with her to ensure that both teachers and students experience as much stability as possible in relation to online and packet learning in the summer school. The platforms that we will use in the summer school align with what teachers and students have already been utilizing. We believe that this will be a great help for teachers and students in the summer school. Before moving on, I would like to mention one more time that as the CIA team, we will post more information on virtual extended learning opportunities in the coming weeks as our focus shifts slowly from the mainstream online and packet instruction to summer programs. Before I finish, as a final note, I will also like to give brief updates to our board and our community about our summer and fall re-entry planning. The first one is about summer professional development plans. We modified, as Stafford team, we modified our summer PD plans to meet the needs of our teachers better under these new circumstances. June and July training sessions will be online, and we are also making arrangements to make sure that there is an online version to every face-to-face August training in case we need it. In addition, we increased the opportunities for teachers to learn more about online teaching during summertime. We believe that the newly acquired knowledge through this professional development sessions and the experience that they are gaining for online instruction during this period will help us implement a quality blended learning when we come back for the fall semester. The second update that I would like to share is about planning for closing the learning gap caused by the school closure. For some time now, we are working on a plan on anticipating deficits and how to close the learning gaps caused by being absent from campus. As part of these efforts, we are having vertical alignment meetings across the board to discuss the plans for instructional needs for the next school year. We will continue to work on those plans and modify our curriculum resources and instructional plans accordingly in the summertime. With these two updates, I conclude my presentation. Thank you for listening. I and my colleagues from CIA department will be happy to answer if you have any questions. By the way, fellow CIA members, please feel free to jump in to answer questions in the chat box. This way we can answer as many questions as possible. So Dr. Bostic, this is the end of my presentation, sir.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions from any trustees? And then I will move on to Mrs. Chief Raspberry, and then at the end, we'll kind of get all those questions in. Any questions from trustees?
I've got a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I just want to say thank you very much to our administration, our IT department for getting this to work this time. I think it's remarkable. We've got a lot of participation, so thank you to everyone who's participating. We've had some remarkable questions. So again, I appreciate all the hard work in making this work and for us to redo this town hall to get that participation. So thank you very much for that. My questions are, one, how are we handling our dual credit students? And how are we coordinating with our community college partner on that? And I'll ask my second question as well, a little different topic, but I know we're shutting down meal service for the school year, but I know last summer we had meal service for our students. Are we planning on doing that as well again this summer?
Is Ms. Nord on to address the dual credit issue?
Yes, I'm here. Do you want me to answer the dual credit question?
Go ahead.
Yes. Trustee Hammurami, we are working quite diligently with our HCC partners. I meet every Wednesday for 2 hours with them. We discuss all of the aspects from issues with technology, career, our course offerings. We're moving forward with our fall enrollment and summer enrollment for our students that are advancing towards our next school year. HCC is extremely involved and committed to making sure that all of our students are successful in our dual credit programs. We're very fortunate. We're one of the few school districts that 90% of our teachers are embedded, and which means that they are Stafford instructors as well as HCC instructors. So they have a lot of contact with our students. We currently only have an adjunct that is teaching our English classes, and we have a group of 9 of our students that are actually embedded on the Missouri City campus taking college biology, and they are all seniors. And I was fortunate enough to get a report from their professor yesterday that they are sailing through the course. They are one of the top groups of students in the class. So I was very proud of them to be able to make that transition from that face-to-face classroom biology class to a virtual platform. But they are all doing very well, and we are making sure that they are supported.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
And then just want to go back to my second question. Are we going to have summer meal service once we, after we shut down for the school year?
What we do know is that it will end on June the 30th. But I see Ms. McDonald's coming on, so she'll be able to answer that question.
Great.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, we will continue to have the free meal, what we are doing now until June the 30th. The USDA had provided that waiver, and it ends on June the 30th.
Got it. And is there any plans to do it after June 30th?
After June 30th, we don't have any guidance yet.
Okay.
That is to come.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Dr. Bosser, just go ahead and move this along.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get Ms. Raspberry up and moving.
Good evening, Dr. Bostic, President Caldwell, board trustees, and the listening audience. I would like to share information on the summer program platform. As Dr. Alma stated, we will provide a summer program. However, the platform will be virtual in most cases. We are still waiting direction from the state regarding the actual platform districts across the state will utilize for the pre-K kinder summer LEP program, and that will be discussed in just a bit. We will provide credit recovery, original credit courses for some few courses, academic enrichment, and some summer camps. So for the credit recovery courses for students who are needing to retake a class for credit or promotion purposes, we will offer those. These classes will require a counselor's approval to ensure students are registering for the correct credit recovery course. If a student is currently failing a class, their counselor will be contacting parents and the student to make sure they're aware of the student's grade and the need to attend summer school. Parents, prior to registering, please contact your student's counselor to discuss the summer courses or courses needed. The original credit course offerings will be for grades 9 through 12 only, and students must have counselor approval prior to registering for these classes. These courses will be limited course offerings, so please stay tuned for additional information on those specific courses. For academic enrichment, We will be providing academic enrichment for those students who either have exhibited some academic gaps during the time we have been out of school, or for those students whose parents feel they would benefit from some additional enrichment, but not necessarily, they've not necessarily been referred for the academic enrichment. So we do recognize during this challenging time, there's some students who may exhibit achievement gaps and need some additional enrichment opportunity in particular content areas, and that will be the purpose of the academic enrichment program. For summer camps, please stay tuned for those summer camps. We will be offering the summer robotics camp virtually. We're currently seeking ways to address the summer strength and conditioning for our athletes. So again, please stay tuned for further details on those summer camps. The registration process will be conducted online. So once the registration window opens, there will be communication posted regarding the registration process, and that will include the open date for registration, as well as the deadline date to register for the courses and the camp offerings. All registration forms will be processed electronically, and we will discuss the fees. In terms of fees, the fees will be waived for those students who are taking credit recovery courses. We will have some nominal fees for those optional academic enrichment courses, which are those courses that parents, not necessarily students who have been referred for academic enrichment, for those parents who would like to see some additional enrichment during the summer. In terms of library media, we've got some exciting things taking place and some exciting offerings for the library over the summer. We will provide an array of services such as Ready to Win, which is the summer reading program for the library. Those students who read 5 books this summer can enter a drawing to win an iPad. We have Destiny Access, which is available for students to access ebooks and audiobooks through the campus library catalog. We also offer free audiobooks through Sync, and that is an audiobook download program. And then we also have the Fort Bend County Library's EZ card program. And I apologize, Dr. Bostic, if you could go to the very next slide for me. Students have access to digital resources through the Fort Bend County Library's EZ program. And this is a partnership between the school district and Fort Bend County Libraries. Students are able to check out ebooks, audiobooks. They can access research databases, including receive some homework assistance. So a really neat program. We're proud to be a part of that. In terms of the pre-K Kinder LEP program, this particular program is for current pre-K or kindergarten students who are enrolled in either the bilingual or ESL program. And they're able to attend summer school free of charge, provided they meet the following criteria. First of all, they have to be identified as a LEP student, and they have to meet eligibility criteria for admission to kindergarten or first grade at the beginning of the 2020-2021 school year. A parent or guardian must have approved placement of the English language learner in the required bilingual or ESL program. And I know Ms. Dudash is on the Zoom meeting as well if we have questions later regarding that program. I'd like to turn the screen over to Dr. Patton, who will share some information on our ESY program.
Good evening, Dr. Bostic, trustees, and community members. This is an update in regards to the learning programs offered through special education and 504 services. The district has made a concerted effort to continue services as designated in the students' individualized plans to the extent reasonably possible since the school closure. We are providing ongoing supports to special needs 504 and dyslexic students, including communication with both parents and students. And we are continuing with the portions of the individualized evaluations that we can do at a distance while prioritizing the face-to-face screenings and assessments that can't be done currently, but immediately when we return to school. In addition to that, parents have joined us in amending individualized education and 504 plans to align with our new mode of delivery at a distance. Furthermore, our team is currently working on the ESY summer camp and the continuation of dyslexia services throughout the summer for those students who are in need. The 4-week summer camp is slated to take place online and focus on those areas of regression. Next slide, please. One of the pillars of our special education and 504 programs is the ongoing collaboration between our students, our parents, teachers, and administrators. The school closure is not limiting that partnership. Parents play a key role in the decision-making process, and we continue to stress that importance through various forms of communications. We've added consulting opportunities for our parents, as well as cozy conversations. We held our first virtual meeting with parents this past Monday. It went very well. Due to the feedback from our parents, we have begun to plan our first spinoff that will involve specific challenged areas that are requested by our parents. We will continue to share this information as we learn and grow through this process. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Patton. And so you might be asking, how will I receive this information on the summer programs? We will be disseminating information through Peach Jar, our new digital flyer platform, School Messenger, the district website, social media, Class Dojo, and other communication outlets. This concludes the presentation on summer programs.
Thank you. All right, so right before we go to adjournment, which is that final slide, we have several questions that are on here. Mr. Parks, can you kind of moderate and give us the items we have in chat so we can answer those? Because I think they kind of go all over the place.
So far, we have kind of answered and replied to quite a few. We have a question that said, are they winning a Nook for iPad summer reading? And we actually have that question answered here in the chat. Hold on just a sec.
Okay.
It says, yes, students will have, a chance to win a Nook and or iPad for completing the summer reading program. And we had a question about STEM Magnet, actually. How will the closure affect testing for the STEM Magnet school? I know there have been rescheduling, but will there be more? Our response to that was STEM Magnet testing is upcoming. STEM Magnet's upcoming testing dates are 6/20 and 7/21. That's June 20th and July 21st. Students grade 5 through 8 can now take the exam at home. Parents should contact ISEE to register for at-home exams. Additional dates will be selected in August. ISEE will allow schools to select dates starting in August. And so far, that's what we have.
Thank you very much. With that being said, trustees, are there any other additional questions you'd like to ask to the panelists since we've answered those from Facebook and the questions online?
Dr. Bostic, I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Really, two. Will STAR be postponed or canceled? And also, there's no STAR information on our district website. So, could you provide some insight into that?
Chiefs.
The STAR and EOC state assessment has been waived by the state, so there will not be any STAR EOC assessments this school year. And your
Okay.
second question, I apologize, Vice President. Guerrero.
Yeah, well, it was kind of piggybacking off of that same related issue. If we could put something on the internet to advise parents as such, because so far I've gotten 5 texts regarding that. So if we could put it out on social media some kind of way, whether it's the platforms we have or whatnot, that I'm sure they definitely would appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Bostic, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
And I know today we talked a lot about the graduation, the seniors and the summer and some of the plans that we're doing. Before we wrap up, I'd like to pick your brain on thoughts and you and the administration and any conversations you may have had with the superintendents across the state and then the commissioner and maybe TEA about what a school year in the coming fall would potentially look like. A lot of businesses and organizations are starting to get back to some new normal. I'm just curious as to if you've had any thoughts or if there have been any thoughts on what SMSD Spartan life will look like in the fall in regards to, you know, some of the efforts for social distancing and screening and surveillance and those things. I know it's probably early and premature, but those are probably some things that we need to start thinking about as we prepare over the summer and head into the fall year.
More than noted, Trustee, host, President Caldwell, members of the board, and attendees and those watching on Facebook. We've had several discussions with the Commissioner of Education and the Governor, to be quite honest with you. The only guidance we have right now as far as what it's going to look like when we come back to school in the fall will be that we're going to be looking at the CDC's guidelines that they've just recently updated for what that classroom setup is going to look like. Now, could that change? Yes. So there are no solid plans on when that's going to happen, what the dates and times will be, because as we know, the governor has has the power to shut down the schools and open them and all those kind of things. And this time, he still has all of that shut down. And so we plan to get further guidance in the fall. What we've been doing to make sure that we've got this all taken care of on our end was to be proactive. So we've created or started to do the think tank work for what reentry plans are going to look like. In fact, all the people who were panelists tonight have been on those calls that we do normally every Monday or 3 days a week for expanded cabinet to discuss what reentry plans are going to look like. None of those have been solidified right now. But to answer your question, are we thinking about it? Absolutely. We're not waiting on them to think for us. Number two, are we waiting on more guidance from the governor? Yes. But are we going to do it safely no matter what the recommendation is? We're doing that as well because we're looking at the scientists and what the CDC has to say about what classrooms would, could, and should look like when they do reopen next school year.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Dr. Bostic, I have a question. This is Jacqueline. Have you guys been in any talk, because I've heard around the country that some school districts are thinking of opening early versus the date that we had already set in order to make up for some of the academic loss?
So our thoughts, I'll tell you my thoughts right up front. Yes, we've been in discussions about that. Dr. Bostic's thoughts right up front are no, we wouldn't open up early. We would use the calendar as presented. Why? Two reasons why. Number one, parents are going to get an opportunity to have an assessment that is going to come out from Dr. Almas's office that is created and produced by the Texas Education Agency, where kids and families get to take those tests online. Now, I'll get a little doctoral in just a second and say that, so we're not so sure that it'll be so reliable or valid because, you know, you're at home with mom or dad, but we are trying to get some data is better than no data is what the commissioner said today to us. And I would agree with that statement. So we're trying to get that, but our opening dates right now are as the board has presented and already approved for that calendar. So we wouldn't plan to start early. What we would do is possibly have some enhancement or enrichment opportunities in the summer, but they wouldn't be part of next year's calendar. Any other questions from trustees?
Thank you, Dr. Bostic.
Thank you very much. With that being said, President Caldwell, I'll turn it back over to you for the last item on the board's agenda.
Yes, sir. Before we adjourn, Dr. Bostic, I do want to do something special because it's very rare that we have parents on. So if any of the board members kind of want to address a parent and just make a statement of support or anything, I want to give them that opportunity before we adjourn.
Yes, sir.
You want me to go?
Anyone of you can go first. Yes.
I just want to thank the administration for all the hard work and the teachers and the support staff during this time. I know it's been a lot to so quickly come up with a process to put in place for the distance learning, online learning, and then also the paper, and then the idea of the laptop. So you guys have done an excellent job. We're really, really appreciative of how quickly you've done everything to ensure that our students are continuing their education, and then everything you guys have done with graduation, because it's such a fluid time and things change. But again, we want to thank all of you, Dr. Bostic, your staff, teachers, everybody. Please let them know we are truly appreciative of all the additional work that they've had to do during this time.
Thank you.
Dr. Bostic, I guess I'll go ahead and jump right next after Trustee Jean-Baptiste. First, I want to go ahead and thank you and your team for working with me to make sure the partnership between Stafford MSD as well as Fort Bend County Library System came to fruition. I was really, really pleased and appreciative of your willingness to work with me and make sure that we provide another opportunity for our Stafford community, our students. Also want to thank you and the entire men and women of Stafford MSD, our teachers, support staff. Everybody's been doing a phenomenal job. You know, those that have been working day in, constantly with our meal program, as well as everybody else, the unsung heroes, if you will, that are preparing packets and doing everything they have to do. Additionally, I want each and every one of our parents to know that my heart goes out to them for this. Them, the students, they don't deserve this, but it really is a bang up job what yourself, everybody else is doing. Dr. Principal Root, and definitely trying to make prom and graduation happen. Big kudos to everybody at Stafford MSD, as well as appreciation of the parents and the students for their understanding.
Thank you, Vice President.
Thank you.
Dr. Bostic, I'll go ahead and go next. First of all, to the senior parents, just a huge kudos to you and your graduates. This has been an extraordinarily difficult time. And to the rest of the SMSD family, many of us have experienced many difficulties and will continue to do so. And I'm humbled by the fact that many of us have all come together during this trying time to pull through and do the best experience for our students. I will say that we're probably not out of the woods yet. Things are going to be different, but I'm just incredibly proud to work alongside and to be part of a great community that, considering this unprecedented pandemic that has affected the world globally, we're still able to keep our students and our community at the center of everything that we do, and trying to make the best experience out of a very difficult situation. So kudos to everyone, and God bless everyone, and we will persevere.
Thank you.
Make a quick comment. One, I want to hope everyone's being safe and wishing for everyone's safety as we move forward and as we slowly, as a state, start opening up. Our children are very important to us, as is our community. And again, as you've seen, our administration is working very, very hard through this time, and as they continue to do, and of course the board is as well. I think this is our 6th meeting, if I'm not mistaken, that we've had to do virtually.
Yes, sir.
We will continue to be here and continue to fight for our kids, and make sure our kids are safe. And again, our seniors are in a very tough situation where this is going to be the end of their school cycle, while they will actually not be able to say goodbye to their friends. And we're going to try to create as much of that and make it normal as possible for them. And number one, we'll make sure our safety of our students. And I also want to thank all our healthcare workers that are on the front line, including the trustee that just spoke, Trustee Manuel Hinojosa. Everyone who's out there on the front lines, I want to say thank you to them, and continue to fight for our safety. So, and again, thank you everyone who participated today.
Thank you, Trustee Hamirani.
Are there any other trustees that would like to say anything?
I'll go last, President Caldwell. I just want to first echo everyone's sentiment in thanking the administration, faculty, staff, everyone who has been a part of ensuring that our students' emotional, social, educational needs are being met. And we want to just assure the parents and the community that our children, and I say our because my daughter is a product and a student at Stafford as well, our children are in good hands. The work is being done on the team's side as far as meeting the needs through whatever means is necessary. And take this time to just focus on your families, each of us taking care of one another, keeping each other lifted in prayer. And we know that we will come out better and stronger on the other side of this virus. God bless.
Thank you, Trustee Lacey Castillo, Secretary Lacey Castillo. I think you're muted, President, and I think you're muted, President Caldwell.
All right, thank you, Dr. Bostic. Thank you, board members, for those comments. At this time, we would like to move into our last agenda item, Vice President.
Mr. President.
Before, and Vice President, we did have one other comment that we might want to mention, because next week is Teacher Appreciation Week.
Right.
And so I just wanted to make sure I made that note and tell our wonderful teachers how much we appreciate them. Just letting them know that. President, Vice President.
All right.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Want to go ahead and make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we've been properly moved in second. Ready for the vote? All in favor with the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Seeing that there is none opposed, meeting is adjourned at 8:06. Guys, have a great night.
You too. Good night, everyone.
Good night.